Good afternoon, Houston. This is attorney Anthony Push from the Push and Win Law Firm, wishing you all a safe drive home. But in the event you do get involved in an accident, you know who to call. 833-PUSH-WIN. We push, you win.
Bye.
I don't understand. She had an out when he discovered that birth control. Why didn't she just get out then? Especially if she's already really into this other guy.
Because then she couldn't put it on Instagram and try and put him on blast like Zion Williamson's chick.
Did you see that study that came out today that cheaters report the main reason for having an affair were low levels of satisfaction in that department? They were satisfied with their spouse or their girlfriend, boyfriend, but they actually claimed they still had romantic love for them. But most of the people in the survey said that it was because they weren't satisfied in that department.
How many women have we talked to, like on the show, that work at those places? They've called in and said that the men, they sleep with them, and then afterwards the guy's like, "No, I love my wife. I love everything about her. Just this, not
doing this.
It's
not doing this.
Yeah, we're not doing this very much." It's like,
but is that act worth destroying your marriage over? No, I don't think so.
Here's the thing
and
that's
is there guilt
really
right
crazy.
Afterwards? Are these guys, they feel guilty?
Yeah, and I don't know if I saw this in a movie, but it really hit when I heard it years ago because, God, somebody's going to remind me which movie this was. The guy has an affair and says it was nothing. And the girl says, really? It was nothing. It was so much of a nothing that it was worth you destroying everything that we have.
It's even worse.
Yep. Yeah. For you to say it was nothing, in your mind, you're like, oh, this is nothing. But to the person you cheated on, you just destroyed the entire thing you've built together.
What would hurt?
Over, quote,
what would
nothing.
hurt worse, though?
That's like a bigger insult.
Would it hurt worse if he had fallen in love with somebody else and left you to be for that person, or if he just had a one-time mess up?
Well, the whole thing is a lack of trust.
And threw it away just for no reason at all.
You can't trust them again.
Yeah, both of them would suck.
Building the trust back is, I don't know. We've talked about this for years. Is it achievable for real?
We've had people call in and say, they survived it.
Like if they cheat on you and say they got married to that person, the mistress, you almost feel like, well, at least he's got that. I mean, you're never going to be happy because you're like,
I was going to say, why would I be happy about that
That's
at all?
the same philosophy of being beaten in the World Series and saying, well, at least the team that beat us, or like in the playoffs, and the team that beat us went to the World Series and won. No, I don't care.
At least they were in
sucks
love.
You lost.
Yes. You can look back as you get older and farther away from the relationship. You can go, all right, we weren't made for each other. I'm in a better life now. At least he did that to me, and he's with that person, so it wasn't like a total.
However,
then again, most people are like, nope, I want to be miserable.
I
want him to suffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he or she does not end up with the Mr. or the mistress, and then you guys part ways, and then that person ends up marrying somebody else, that somebody else might be an easier pill to swallow than the mistress marriage.
Yeah, absolutely.
You always
the
hate 'em.
mistress, no.
Yeah,
but I've read
like,
this. Study after study shows that when somebody steps outside the marriage and they fall for somebody else and they divorce their mate and they marry that person, that relationship 78% of the time is over in 2 years. There's such a high rate that it won't work.
What's the reason?
I think Roula just summed it up. You've vacated the mistress spot.
I mean, they want that. They find that
thrill.
thrill.
Well,
I think once they start living the real life,
and the new, and the oh my gosh, we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you're like, well, I can do this all the time now. Now I just eat your wet, dirty underwear on the floor.
Yeah, paying
That's
bills,
fun.
living
I gotta
together.
Pick that up.
You
don't pick that up
because they're living in a fantasy land when it's an affair, and when it becomes reality, and they have to do the day-to-day real life stuff. It's no longer fun.
It's the same philosophy, guys, as living in the place you love to vacation. You love to vacation because it's carefree, it's relaxing, there's no responsibility, it's awesome. And they're like, guess what? I'm moving to Cancun forever. And they're like, oh, I got to deal with the government, and I got to deal with the everyday, and I got to deal with these weird taxes I didn't know about. This sucks. It's the same thing.
Well, if I had
you getting with the Mr. or the mistress is the same thing as moving to the vacation spot. Is not awesome anymore.
No, I
That's
could live in a
one I'd like to
vacation.
try, though.
I'd love to live in a vacation spot. I really would.
I know people that have moved to the vacation spot. It is not all it's cracked up to be.
Like,
They're
I mean, if you
oh,
have the
hell.
money to do it, then yeah, that'd be great.
No, usually it's cheaper to live in the vacation spot because it's a less cost of living in life.
But then as you get older, when you can afford it, if you can, your kids end up having kids and you have grandbabies and you don't want to be away from them. So then
Right.
it's this
That's what my
vicious
parents
cycle.
are dealing with right
Like
now.
your parents probably would like to retire and go to somewhere,
Yep.
Sam, but they're like, no, come down here and see.
Can't. Got to save money to come down to Houston.
Yeah.
See little Santiago.
Correct.
Sorry.
Which,
So,
by
yeah,
the way,
he's
he
nice.
is like the cutest baby on earth.
Thank
like, you brought him
you.
in here yesterday. I got to hold him for the first time.
Yeah.
You hold him?
He's like the
Is that why he was
sweetest.
crying? I thought I heard him crying. but I think it was- No, you scared him or something.
It was no, that was a different time. That was coming out of the meeting. I came
startled
around.
him.
I
He
came
was
around.
like,
I came around the corner and he started to get the crinkle face like he was going to cry. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, please don't. And then he stopped. He didn't. He didn't.
It's
But it
funny.
was so weird for me because I had not held a baby in probably 18 years. Man, it was just so weird. And it all.
Oh, you haven't held a baby since
Your niece
then?
and nephews?
Yeah.
Well, they.
I think you held one of
nephews?
my kids when they come up here.
Well, no, you're right because I held Michael, so it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years
yeah.
since I
But like
held
a baby is
It's kind of
different.
weird if the baby's not around. You're just going to go see a baby. Hey, can I hold your baby?
Can I hold your baby?
You're right. I forgot about
It's
that.
Can I
very odd, but
sniff
still.
your baby?
Yeah,
I'm
when
so
people ask
protective.
me,
I'm still
"Can
like
I hold that
overly
baby?"
sensitive about supporting the neck. Like I'm
Oh, yeah.
still treating him like a newborn.
Sam, it's all about how you ask. He's like, "Oh, can I hold your baby?" versus, "Can I hold your baby?"
No, I didn't ask to hold. Sam's like, hey, I got to do something, Ryan. Here, hold him.
An
I
hour
have a
later?
girl of water.
And
Well, Tiffy, backstory. I don't normally just bring Santiago to
No,
work.
I know. No, you had a problem.
Daycare lost power, unfortunately. So I was
You
like,
couldn't leave your precious baby in a 100-degree room.
no. So we had to go get him.
That was fun.
He was cool.
They're all still, they're cute and just lovable and doing nothing up until about, 10 to 12 months. If you have those early walkers, you're like, no.
I hate that
now
when
I
you-
have to find
you
out
put 'em
everything.
down.
Where's everything? Pick up everything off the floors. Don't eat it. Take off your shoes. Don't wear shoes in my house. All the things. But when they're just like, just bundles of love like they are now, like I feel like 7 to 10 months is my favorite time because they're thick enough to be like not so fragile, right? Like the newborn infant is like, oh my God. But, by 7 months, they built up some fat. They're all chubster, and you kind of like hold them more solid, and like, oh, they're just so cute. And if you put them somewhere, they stay.
Let's go the other way. What's the the age that sucks? Like 2 to 4?
Three
I was
teenagers
gonna-
are
I was gonna
the
say-
meanest
I
little
was gonna
children
say-
ever.
Then 14?
14. I was going to say that was the worst. 14.
I think it's fun now because the kids are older. Like they want to go to the Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
And like we're
Yeah, you
going
can
on
go
vacation
do things
together.
with
And
them.
my daughter and I go on the roller coasters together and talk about pop culture and things that happening right now.
Once they become young adults and you can have like real conversations, it's like the neatest feeling. It really
3
is.
years old is cute, but how they will scream bloody murder in public places because you didn't cut something right.
Oh, something so stupid.
It's just like,
no.
oh my God.
I'm not ready for that.
They will bring you to your knees. And you're like, oh my God, get out of here. And then the other day, it was on Kelly and Mark, J-Lo was talking about her twins are 15 now and how it doesn't matter who the kid is or who the parent is, 15 is crazy. And Kelly and Mark were like, oh yeah, 15. Ugh. If you could survive that 15.
Their kids,
they're such a-holes to you. They're
embarrassed
"Get
to
away
see
from me,
J-Lo
Mom."
with those outfits and like
Oh, yeah.
showing off her butt and her cleavage. That's your mom. I don't care. That's gross.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to see that.
gross.
Nobody
Ew.
wants to see that.
I mean,
You're like, Mom, why are you wearing that?
yeah.
But the acting up
Like,
phase.
I like a glitter bodysuit when my friends came over just to have some snacks.
Do you like to have go on those trips? Do you like that car you're going to get when you're 16? Well, then you shut up and you just let me do my thing.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a appropriate age because
I mean, you worry about them to the day you die. From the womb to the tomb, you're going to be worrying about them the entire time. You never stop worrying. You're mentioning like the acting up thing. I was just going to say, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. That only ever happened one time where she threw a S-fit.
I still don't believe you, Ryan Chase, as a human male or female.
time
there's
ever
no way your
in a
child
restaurant.
one time had a fit. Children have
Come
fits
on.
like every 30 minutes if they want to over the stupidest
No,
stuff.
but
So
here's
how
what
you
I
deal with the
did.
fit.
We went in there. I said, please. I said, if you do this again, we're getting up and leaving. And it was like a Chuck E. Cheese type place too. So kids love that kind of stuff. And she started screaming. I'm like, okay, that's it. We're going. Just got up and left, went home. Never happened again.
Ever.
No.
Oh, that's good.
Then
That's awesome.
I'll let
should
you know
be
if that
a
works with
billionaire
Santiago.
Yeah, you should write a book then.
to
because
write the technique and
Oh
do a
no,
YouTube
I got
channel.
everything else wrong. Don't worry.
He's like, I know that one.
I don't need to write a book. I'm the cautionary tale.
One chapter, one time I got it right.
I think the bottom line is no matter how hard we try, nobody's perfect. And I think having an adult conversation with my daughter when she said, yeah, when you did this and this and this as a kid, that really hurt me. And it just made me feel like such a failure. I'm like, God, I was really trying my hardest and I failed you, and it's
Like
like
too hard?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody, as long as you're trying, I think, you can sleep with a
I don't think you can win,
conscience.
though, right? No matter what you did, they're going to
No, there's always
Right.
going to be
pick
something.
Yeah.
You don't get a book when you get a baby.
Exactly
You know?
right.
There's no
And then college,
Although, when you do have a baby, Sam,
they do have books.
most hospitals will send you home with like things like the basics of what you should know to do.
Oh, well, yeah.
And I remember like
but-
thinking like, oh my God, they actually like tell you what to do. Does anybody read this? Like, this is unbelievable because you have to, this is a great statement my sister told me years ago. You have never assume somebody is as smart as you. And it is not being condescending. It is about the things that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Never assume everybody knows that. Like, you know not to leave a baby in a hot car.
Yes.
There are people that we have seen in the news that have put bourbon in baby bottles because they heard putting a little bit of whiskey on the gums helps their teething. And legit story of a woman who put bourbon in her baby's bottle. Like, this is the world we live in.
That's
so
scary.
never assume somebody is as smart as you.
Blanton's? What was it?
Stop it, Eric.
Woo!
And I'm just thinking they give that little
that.
paperwork like, okay, listen, here's what you're going to do. You got to change. Make sure you check the diaper. How many pees a day are they having? Make sure you're not having a rash. Feed them, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Like they give you a basics 101. Doesn't still help sometimes.
No.
You're like, I don't know what's happening.
Why are you
Where
crying?
are you crying?
I've done everything.
I have
Changed
literally
you,
talked
fed
to my
you.
infant saying, what is wrong with you? Like, I
Yes.
don't know why you're crying
Yes.
still. Please stop crying. Those are the sleepless nights, friends. Okay, coming up next in Celebrity Scoop, Fall Out Boy has an updated version of Billy Joel's 1989 song, We Didn't Start the Fire. We'll let you hear that. And the Swifties really try hard to keep making Taylor Swift rich. So much so, they're putting themselves in debt over $50.
They're failing.
You're
They're
putting
totally
yourself in
failing.
debt to help a woman that's probably going to be a billionaire this year.
But the story is relatable to every artist all across the board. We'll talk about it next in Scoop on the Roula and Ryan Show.
What really happens to you when you wake up with the Roula and Ryan show on KRBE?
You get blasted in the face.
You might laugh so hard you spit coffee.
Hold on to your privates.
Might get hooked on prank calls.
Affinity for the hippopotamus.
H-Town's morning show, world famous for roses,
Special K's robocall.
Does your neighbor have a hose?
revenge,
The Roula and Ryan show.
6 to 10 in the morning and always on demand with the podcast at krbe.com.
When poison happens, Poison Help is here. We're the free 24/7 hotline that answers your poison questions, with expert advice available at no charge. Make the right call in a poison emergency. Call Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
I am proud to introduce
Roula and Ryan's Celebrity Scoop.
KRBE.
There it is, Fall Out Boy's
I liked
version
it.
of We Didn't Start the Fire, the
Fun.
updated 2023. What was the big one that was missing? Everyone's talking about no COVID, no quarantine,
Yeah.
no nothing but vaccine. Quarantine,
you're right.
vaccine.
I was just thinking how
Yeah.
difficult it is to take all these current pop culture events over the last 30 years and find a way to make them rhyme. Now, the only difference is Billy Joel's song, he went in all chronological order. They kind of just mixed it all up.
Yeah.
Like it's not in order.
Still a good song. It's fine.
I like it. And
There's some stuff I didn't understand.
the
in
reason they
there,
say Jordan 23-45, those were his jersey
Two numbers.
Numbers.
When he came
Correct.
back after his little baseball career.
Yeah.
He went number 45.
That didn't do well.
No. But baseball's, he got a few home runs. Baseball's so freaking hard to do.
Yeah, and actually, if you watch
Like a baseball?
the Last
But when you're
Dance
the
on
GOAT
Netflix,
in one sport, then you go to play another one.
but he started as a baseball kid. When he was
Yeah.
a kid, he wanted to be a baseball
Yep.
player. And if you watch The Last Dance on Netflix, his trainer said, okay, are you sure you want to do this? Because the workout for baseball is completely different than the way you've worked out your body and conditioned
yeah.
it for basketball.
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll try this.
But I liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
We've been saying it for years. Why doesn't Billy
Somebody
Joel
do
bring
this.
it back?
Well,
Yeah.
Billy he doesn't want to write anymore. He's even said that he's done making records.
And man, when I saw them with Green Day and Weezer, the fans.
What a great show.
Fall Out
For
Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
It's good. You know, I like that they're still hitting it. You know what I mean? Like, Fall Out Boy is not one of these bands that when we had them for, like, Not So Silent Night or what was like our 2006.
They've had some
or
longevity. If you think about
Jingle
some of
Jam
the
or
other
something.
bands that were around that time, like All American Rejects, the career didn't really last.
Bowling for Soup was not making a 2023 hit.
Well, I mean, those bands are still around.
Weird name for a band.
Bowling for Soup.
I know.
Bowling for Soup.
They're nice guys.
All right, let me get to this Swiftie story because this really relates to all artists, but because the Taylor Swifties tried this is why, you know. All right, so here's it. Here's how it is. A Taylor Swift fan recently did the math and was shocked by how little she was contributing to Taylor's worth. net worth. She streamed Taylor's songs 2,493 times over the past 3 years, which generated less than $6 of income for Taylor Swift. Because you have to factor in the record labels, the management, the distributors taking their cut. And she said, all this time I thought I was helping Taylor pay her bills. Another person
Pay her
streamed...
bills?
Yeah.
She's worth $550 million. I don't think she needs you to help her pay your bills.
How did she get that way, Ryan? People had to buy her music. She had to become famous.
she
So
doesn't have
people had to
bills.
actually like her
And this tour is going to make her
music.
another $500,000.
So
She'll be a
another
billionaire.
person streamed her 21,300 times, and that only resulted in about $50 in Taylor's pocket. And that's not even enough to buy a hoodie from her own tour right now.
Exactly.
It should be noted, of course, the numbers are based on international averages. You can calculate the income by country. And when the second fan ran her numbers in the U.S. alone, it was about $75. But that means Spotify pays more for streams in the U.S. than other
You'd make
countries.
more if she did like clicks on YouTube or something.
Probably.
Yes, and I will always
And then you get
refer
clicks.
back to.
By the way, speaking of YouTube, Roula and Ryan show, we have a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yes, please check us out.
KRB, right, Irvin? Is that KRB?
Yeah.
Go there on YouTube. We have lots of stuff you can see. 104.1 KRB. You'll
Is
see
there
it.
anybody that y'all really idolize to the point where you want to help make them wealthier?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the philosophy of Eric and the deodorant.
I'm like a fanboy
that
on
Arm
a
&
lot
Hammer
of things.
deodorant so much, he bought like 20 of them, thinking, I'm going to buy
Well,
all
that's
these.
different. He didn't want it
and
to go
think
out of
that's really
business.
selling, so they keep making it.
I switched deodorant this week.
What?
I gave up Arm & Hammer. I felt like I just felt
Cheating.
wet. I just felt like it wasn't covering. They say
Maybe your
you should
body
change-
grew
yeah.
immune to it.
Yeah, so I'm trying other ones.
What's the one you got on now? Degree?
It's a Gillette. It came in a box and it said it's.
I smell something.
Something by Menon?
It made it say like it helps sweat better and all this
Oh,
stuff.
you got the fancy
Well, let
one.
us know how that is
Play a
on your
scam.
Instagram.
I have to use the men's extra care thing. I have to use like the double duty
Some
antiperspirant.
listener said it'll get a sweat blocker. I bought on Amazon and it put on my armpit like this wipe.
I don't
And
think that's
it
good.
blocked my sweat for like a month or two.
I don't think
not
that's
good,
healthy.
though.
That's not
You're
good.
supposed to sweat.
I know, but then I felt like I was sweating my back. Or like-
All right,
So
back
all
to
the
the numbers.
sweat is being forced out your back pores.
But I did that
Ew.
once, but then it felt weird. My armpit felt weird, like tight.
All right,
Here's
back
Eric
to the
sitting
numbers.
down in a chair.
Gross. Back to the numbers real quick. I want to just reference this. Years ago, Johnny Resnick, who's the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls, was in studio, and off the air he was saying, imagine if you had an apple pie, like a Dutch apple pie that has crumbs on top, right?
Sounds good.
And he goes, and you know when you cut that first piece, like a little piece of the crust will fall on the table? He goes, that's what we get in our pockets. The whole rest of the pie
Goes to the record
goes
company.
to the record label and everything that made that record.
They also
happen.
don't mention that they get paid first before they even do stuff, right?
They give them like an advance or something.
Here's an advance, then you got to pay back like books. You got to.
But if it doesn't sell,
we'll give
they'll
you
get to
$4
pay
million in
back.
advance. It's like, well, okay, you get the money, and then you got to.
But the industry has changed a lot since the I can't say it. Goo Goo Dolls. Since the Goo Goo Dolls started to how pop stars start today, there's a massive difference.
Well, wasn't this whole thing with Taylor Swift and Spotify? She like held them at ransom at some point. Not at ransom, but she was like, well, I'm not going to give y'all my music until we figure out how we're getting
Look
paid
at that
for
Goo Goo
this.
Dolls guy's face, by the way.
I know he's
Oh,
done
Johnny
a lot of
Resnick's
stuff.
done too much nip and pull.
Well,
Nip and
it's
tuck.
all about, you can't look at Madonna's face. And Madonna, by the way, if you haven't heard that story, she was in the ICU. She had some sort of a bacterial infection. They say she's on the mend, but her world tour is supposed to kick off in 2 weeks. She's coming to Houston in September.
I think they said they're
Everyone
postponing
hopes
the
it's all
initial
good.
dates.
But maybe
That's not official.
maybe September should be good.
That is not official. The latest I saw is Madonna's supposed to kick off the tour in 2 weeks, and we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be pushed off or not. So don't panic, anybody, Ryan Chase. Still on.
Now,
Here we go.
time for the Roula and
Till we
Ryan
need a
show on
panic.
KRBE to tell you what's going down in H-Town.
It is brought to you by Duncan. Yes, another triple-digit day. It's going to be hot out there. Heat index 110 degrees.
Stuck under that heat dome, y'all.
Ugh.
The
really
heat
are.
dome.
We really are. Harris County Judge Hidalgo announced that the county's collaboration with Houston legends Beyonce and Kelly Rowland is happening. It's in an effort to lessen homelessness in the Bayou City. It's a $7.2 million initiative. It'll create 31 permanent new supported housing units for people that are experiencing homelessness. So look at it. Look, Beyonce and Kelly helping out right now. $7.2 million. Powerball's jackpot is growing closer to $500 million with no winner for Wednesday's $462 million drawing. The jackpot now rises to $493 million.
I can't do it until it's 500.
493 million.
So you're not taking the bait until it's $500 million.
Wow,
What is the- when is it?
wow.
Friday?
I don't know the dates of that. I buy both tickets
I get
thinking which one
confused.
hits. Is it Tuesday or Friday?
I think
and
Friday
Wednesday and Thursday?
Friday
I don't
is
know.
tomorrow. It's 493
I
million.
don't know. That billboard they have, the one I see,
You see the-
Galleria,
The numbers.
that's the best advertising they could have.
It really
you see that
is.
number when all of a sudden it's like,
Oh, yeah.
500. It's like, whoa, what?
And then when it gets to almost $1 billion, it just stops at 999
Yeah.
because it can't go billion.
You think they put, if it's 666, would they put that up there?
Yeah, they have.
It's the number of the beast.
I figure they wouldn't do it here.
Probably not.
666.
By the way, a little update. I
0.5.
just looked it up for real-time updates on Madonna's tour. And yes, they have postponed it, but they have not said when the new pickup is going to be. Only for the world tour because it was a
Okay.
kickoff. I don't know if that still affects the North American side because you'd think everything gets pushed.
Right.
But sometimes they just can't make them all push over. You got to just skip that city now and just keep on track with the rest of your stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll update you as it goes.
And go Stros. Hey, they beat the Cards last night 10-7. Altuve hit a 3-run homer in Houston's 5-run 8th inning.
That
Man,
was nice.
Nice game.
to see the bats going.
yes, it is. That's what's going down in H-Town.
Coming up next, Food Wars. 4th of July is around the corner. What are the 2 essential foods you must have at a 4th of July celebration?
Yep, you can have cookout, barbecue.
Can we take hot dogs and hamburgers off the table?
Too
Because I feel like
basic.
so many people have that.
Hey,
Don't
too
call and say
You
hot
just
dog and
insulted
hamburger.
like America.
No, but we know that's going to
Hot
be
dogs and
part of it.
hamburgers
It's gonna
are
be
America.
So-
everybody.
Yeah, so besides hot dogs and hamburgers,
Yep.
what are 2 essential foods you must have at your offerings for the barbecue?
Ryan's cooking, what is it, Tums?
Hey,
Tums and Pepsi. Okay, 713-390-KRBE. What are 2 essential foods you must have at your 4th of July barbecue outside of burgers and dogs? Next on the...
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
Whenever I drive separately with Susie, you always have to go first. So sure enough, I pull into the garage. She's not even here yet, which allows me now the opportunity to stand there, just holding the door open,
So annoying.
like the gentleman that I am. And I snapped a photograph of Susie's reaction, and there it is. How did you get here?
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.